We are hearing private member statements, and I call the member for Upper Hunter.
Thank you, Mr Temporary Speaker. I rise to talk a little more about the drought that is, we all know that is occurring in New South Wales, and we're suffering a lot in the Upper Hunter. But there's a number of aspects to the drought which I think need to be people need to be reminded of. There's some very heartbreaking stories that people are espousing and articulating throughout the media and in our local communities. But also the Deputy Premier today, he had the opportunity to talk about, and unfortunately was somewhat rudely interjected and interrupted, but he had an opportunity to talk about the positive aspects of what people can actually do to assist regional towns and rural towns in New South Wales. And I'd like to touch a little bit more on that, because to date the focus has been predominantly on assistance for the farming families and the farming communities, but very little attention has been paid to the businesses in small country towns and rural towns and regional towns, even larger regional centres like Tamworth and Dubbo. The businesses are suffering because of a lack of economic activity, and it makes sense. If the farmers have to spend their money keeping stock alive and doing the bare necessities, a lot of that expenditure actually is done out of town, and normal everyday expenses just don't go on, and therefore the economic activity doesn't go on. But you know what? In regional New South Wales and rural New South Wales, it's a wonderful place. There are so many positive things about rural and regional New South Wales that a lot of our city people can experience and have a wonderful time doing so. If you just take my electorate, for example, in the Upper Hunter, I've said many times, and I'll continue to say, that the Upper Hunter is the electorate is the home of world-class mines, wines, equines and bovines. Now the bovines are suffering. There's no doubt about that. We've probably got a lot less than we had here a couple of years ago, but nevertheless they are of the highest quality. And if you want to go to a wonderful restaurant and experience some very, very five-star hospitality and cooking, go to the Cottage in Scone. They specialise in steak. They get their steak locally, and they are, I think, they've had a number of awards, and I think they're one of the top 10 restaurants in Australia, and if they're not, they should be. It is a wonderful place to go. If you want the best quality city meal in a wonderful country town, go to the Cottage restaurant in Scone. Of course, we've got, I've got a significant proportion of the wine industry in my electorate. So everyone knows Pecolbin and the Hunter Valley wine district, and the member for Cessnock and I share that particular region. And if you want world-class wines, then go there. Go there, spend a weekend, spend some time, spend a bit of money, spend a bit of time in the restaurants, spend a bit of money in the restaurants, and you know what? For every dollar that you spend on that activity, it generates around about another $3 or $4 in the local economy, because the money keeps going around in circles and activity goes on. And businesses don't have to suffer. The businesses don't suffer as much when they traditionally would rely on agricultural income for that local economy. So there's lots of things, and I've just given two examples there. There's lots of things that people can do. You know, you can drive through, we've talked about world-class mines, wines, equines and bovines. We have, Scone is the horse capital of Australia. We have the world's greatest thoroughbred breeding facilities in my electorate. You can go there and you can have a look. Spend a weekend there and go and put yourself next to some of the world's greatest stallions, like a Reduced Choice at Arrowfield just out of Scone there, or other world famous horses that people hear about, and they put that little bet on hoping that they're going to turn a fortune out of that $10 or $100 or whatever the case may be. And of course we've got world-class mines. People are fascinated by the mines and the operations and the activities. You can drive around the Upper Hunter in certain areas and you can see all the good things And while you're doing that with mines and wines and equines and bovines, and while you're doing that, you can go into our little country towns, spend some money, and tell people how much you care about them.
Thank the member for Upper Hunter.